Technically, there's about 103,000 orphans. There's a lot more that aren't, unofficially. And so the statistics are within the entire country. It's 60 to 70% end up in crime. The suicide rate is also about 10% before they reach their 18th birthday. They're both like orphans and social orphans. The social orphans are kids that have been taken away from their families due to alcoholism mostly and poverty. And now there's a lot more due to the war in the East. The biggest problem I think that they face is being anonymous in a crowd. And that's not how a child is supposed to grow up. I went to Ukraine for the first time when I was 14 to work at a summer camp for kids. And I just fell in love with them. I was homesick, terribly homesick, and never wanted to go back until I came home, and then I couldn't stop thinking about them and just their situations, where they come from, and the big state-run orphanages that they would have to go back to. It just, something grabbed my heart. My vision for these kids is to put them in a home atmosphere, to build an environment that's not only intimate and has people that know your name and know what you're going through, but it's also beautiful. And just a place to give these kids their childhood back so that they're not trying to survive and defending themselves even from a very young age. We want to give them a safe place that they can grow and learn how to take care of themselves. They can learn how to make decisions and just live in a family, resolve conflict with words and not with their fists, which is what they're used to at the orphanages. To give them a purpose and a reason, and most importantly to know that they're loved by a Father, by God, and He has a hope for each one of them. This project is called the House of Compassion. It's from Psalm 103:13, where it says, "As a father has compassion on his children, so Yahweh." And that's the name for the God who brought the Israelites out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery, out of the land of darkness, and into their promised land. First and foremost, we need people to partner with us in prayer and just cover this whole project, because without the Spirit of God, without His leading and His wisdom, it's all for nothing. And we're also raising $50,000 to begin the initial process of buying the land, beginning building the main house, and then we will need monthly supporters to get the project off the ground. Eventually, our dream is to be self-supporting, to have animals, to have our own vegetables, our own gardens. But in the beginning, we will need partnership. A few of our kids that have grown up at the orphanage, but graduated and moved into a group home that another organization in our city runs, they have spent, I think, 3 years there. They've become Christians, and God has done amazing things in their lives. And it's their heart to now go back and tell the kids at the orphanage that if God can do it for me, He can do it for you. We were at a drop-in center one Monday, and we were trying to get the younger kids from the orphanage involved. And so one of the graduates came up to him and said, "Come on, it's your turn." The little kid said, I don't know how. I can't do that. And the graduate said, "Come with me and I'll show you." And that's really our heart. That's what we love. That's what the dream is, the desire is in the long term, that these kids will grow up and go back and reach out to the ones that were left behind. There's one boy, he was in my first class. I'll remember him the first day. He just asked me a million questions that he wasn't finding answers to. And a few years ago, something clicked in him. You could tell inside he was struggling, he was frustrated. He didn't know what he was doing with his life. He didn't have any purpose or any hope. Until one day he said, God said to him, "Take the first step and I'll show you where to go from there." And he did, and his whole face changed, his whole countenance has changed. And it's been every single day since then. And that's why we do what we do, because we know that God can change these kids and God can give them a beautiful future and hope. And that's really what they're lacking at the orphanages.